York, once a symbol of prosperity and wealth, where Times Square is illuminated with bright lights and unimaginable luxurious living. But now, those streets are enveloped by a completely different reality. Sidewalks covered with tents of the homeless, stores shutting down en masse, becoming familiar sights of a ghost town. What happened? Sky-high housing prices, economic recession, or are there deeper reasons that few dare to mention? This is not just the story of New York, but a warning bell for the entire United States. And the truth might send shivers down your spine. Has the American dream completely disappeared? In today's documentary, we will reveal the shocking truth about the 10 largest cities in America turning into ghost towns due to the homelessness crisis. Watch until the end, because this truth might give you chills. New York, once the heartbeat of the world, a symbol of the American dream, but now it looks no different from a ghost town. When night falls, New York is no longer the city of skyscrapers shimmering with lights, but the city of thousands of homeless people lost amidst a magnificent yet cold metropolis. Can you believe it? The streets are eerily silent. This time, it's not because of COVID-19. Instead, the massive wave of immigration, the departure of the millionaire class, along with the housing shortage and economic recession, has turned many neighborhoods desolate. The shops are understaffed, customer numbers have plummeted, and vehicles are sparse, creating a stifling and unstable atmosphere. In Times Square, which should be the bustling heart of New York, the LED screens still shine brightly, and tourists still pose for photos. But right beneath those lights, a black man leans against the cold wall of a high-end fashion store, holding a cardboard sign with the scrawled words, "Once there was a dream, now just a meal." Just a few steps away, a group of young people clad in luxurious outfits stepped out of the upscale bar, discussing their upcoming European vacation. Two worlds, two destinies, coexist in one city, but never touch each other. In Midtown, businesses are closing one after another, not due to a lack of customers, but because their entrances have turned into makeshift sleeping spots for the homeless. The rows of park benches are no longer for strollers, but rather a resting place for those who have nothing left to lose. Stepping down to the subway station, you not only see hurried passengers, but also witness a more terrifying reality. Dozens of people curled up beside the ventilation ducts, trying to keep a bit of warmth to survive the night. And then, Central Park, once a symbol of romance and tranquility, now looks no different from a refugee camp in the heart of the city. Hundreds of makeshift tents set up under the tree canopies, where abandoned people with no way out, no tomorrow. Even more astonishing, 400,000 undocumented immigrants who were once an indispensable part of the city's economy have now also disappeared. A tourist from Colorado remarked, "I came to New York to enjoy the city that never sleeps, but it seems like it went to bed at 9:30 p.m. Is New York not only facing a homelessness crisis, but also the collapse of part of its economy, extreme social division, and an uncertain future? Los Angeles is a place where you can spot Hollywood stars stepping out of million-dollar supercars, successful entrepreneurs dining at luxurious restaurants, enjoying extravagant dishes that cost as much as a month's salary for an ordinary worker. But here, there are more than 75,000 people without a place to call home, turning old cars into shelters, park benches into refugees, and a meal costing a few dollars into a luxury. Is Los Angeles still the city of angels? Or is it gradually turning into a ghost town, where the American dream is fading into darkness? Like this video and join us in uncovering the truth behind the glamorous facade. Right in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, Skid Row looks like a forgotten world. More than 4,000 people crowd together among the tattered tents hastily set up beside graffiti-stained walls. The sidewalks have no space left to walk, only cardboard sheets spread out on the road, faces gaunt from hunger, from cold, from being forgotten.
It's where all the food is. It's where all the resources are located. But Skid Row is a very nasty place.
During the day, they collect every empty can and carefully gather every morsel of food from the benefactors. At night, they curl up in old, tattered sleeping bags, trying to forget the hunger, the cold, and the indifferent glances of strangers passing by. The scene was no different from a slum right in the middle of the million-dollar city, completely contrasting with the glittering skyscrapers just a few blocks away. Can you believe it? April Grijalva, 55 years old, lived for 10 years in a tent community before finally being moved into an apartment. But then a wildfire swept everything away. She returned to a life of homelessness, sleeping in the McDonald's parking lot, not knowing where she would go tomorrow. What am I supposed to do now? I don't even have the chance to pay the rent. She choked. This is not an uncommon story. A fire, a medical bill, a job loss. Just one small incident is enough to make someone lose everything. And in Los Angeles, if you lose your home, the chance of getting it back is almost zero. Los Angeles no longer has enough space for the homeless. But instead of helping them, the city plays classical music as a form of sophisticated eviction. Beethoven and Mozart's music echoes through the subway stations all night, not for entertainment, but to prevent the wretched from getting a wink of sleep. A measure to reduce crime, or just a way to push them out of sight, causing them to sink deeper into the darkness of a ghost town forming right in the heart of the luxurious city? Is Los Angeles losing itself? The average housing price is nearly $1 million, far exceeding the affordability of most residents. Hollywood is declining, and film studios are moving to other states due to lower tax policies. Traffic jams, sky-high gas prices, causing living costs to skyrocket. That's right. Los Angeles is no longer the promised land. It is at a crucial crossroads. Either find a real solution or become a modern ghost town, where the rich live in towering skyscrapers and the poor are pushed to the margins. Do you think Los Angeles can change? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Let's continue. Chicago used to be one of the most vibrant cities in America, where skyscrapers stood proudly and the pace of life was constantly bustling. But stop for a moment. Today, the scene is vastly different from before. Middle-class people are migrating in droves, leaving behind deserted neighborhoods, abandoned houses, and a gradually weakening economy. Not only facing a homelessness crisis, Chicago also imposes a property tax of over 2%, twice the national average, turning the dream of homeownership into a burden. As a result, more and more people are leaving the city, leaving behind cold streets and a Chicago gradually sinking into a terrifying silence. And one thing you will have to exclaim when you hear about this city. Chicago once prided itself on being America's gateway to trade, where O'Hare Airport bustlingly welcomed dreams of reaching far and wide. But now, the image of passengers pulling their suitcases among the shadows of people huddled on the floor, waiting chairs turned into beds, and sidewalks becoming shelters. The airport shops close early, not due to a lack of customers, but because of the increasing security concerns. O'Hare is no longer just a place where dreams take flight. It has also become a stop for forgotten destinies. Once one of the most important cities in America, Chicago now faces an uncertain future. Without measures to reduce taxes, increase housing support, and address homelessness, Chicago may continue to lose residents, businesses, and even its soul. Can this city rise from the abyss, or will it become a permanent ghost town? Next, let's head to San Francisco, known as the most enchanting city on the west coast of the United States, a place that brings together natural beauty, spectacular architectural wonders, and the cradle of global technology. But now, it is fading away. It's hard to believe, the tech exodus wave is pushing the city into ruin. Specifically, the office vacancy rate has reached 34%, a record high in history. The skyscrapers that were once symbols of prosperity are now just empty shells. A series of tech companies have left, taking with them tens of thousands of jobs and billions in revenue. It's heartbreaking. San Francisco used to be a place where people came to build the future. But now, people are fleeing to save themselves. A city losing its economic pillar is like a building losing its foundation. Everything starts to collapse. When tech companies leave, small businesses cannot survive either. The cafes, restaurants, and grocery stores that once relied on the tech workforce are now closing down in droves. Real estate prices are plummeting, and landlords are abandoning empty buildings. The once bustling streets are now only filled with trash and the remnants of homeless encampments. Especially, the city center is no longer a tourist destination, but a place where tourists hesitate to set foot. San Francisco is no longer the city of technology. It is gradually becoming a massive homeless camp right in the heart of the urban area. They are trapped in a never-ending cycle. Unemployment, homelessness, inability to find work, and being stuck forever. If homelessness hasn't turned San Francisco into a ghost town, organized looting is pushing it closer to collapse. Flash mob looting, group thefts occurring brazenly in broad daylight, pushing businesses into an untenable situation. The police are powerless against gangs storming into supermarkets and shopping malls, clearing out goods and disappearing in an instant. Even more astonishing, major retail chains like Walgreens, Nordstrom, and Whole Foods have had to close permanently. The neighborhoods that were once shopping paradises now only have empty stores with "for lease" signs. San Francisco used to be a symbol of innovation and prosperity. But can it rise again? Or will it continue to sink deeper, becoming a true ghost town? Portland used to be known as one of the most livable cities in America, with lush landscapes, a creative community, and a thriving economy. But now, the sidewalks, parks, and streets of Portland are overflowing with tents, trash, and people forgotten by society. Portland is becoming an outdoor shelter center with thousands of tents set up closely together on sidewalks, under bridges, and in parks. Can you believe it? On any given night, 1 in 165 people in Portland is homeless. The homeless are flooding the downtown area, causing businesses and residents to leave, leaving behind silent, desolate streets. Not stopping there, more than 25% of the homeless people in Portland have been in this situation for over a year, or have gone through multiple periods of homelessness in the past 3 years. Even more heartbreaking is that 30% of the homeless population are women, an increase of 15% in just 2 years, and nearly half of them have experienced domestic violence. African Americans are one of the fastest growing homeless groups, with people of color making up 39% of the total homeless population in Portland. Clearly, this situation is not just an economic issue, but also a profound social crisis. Although the Portland authorities spend millions of dollars on programs to support the homeless, the situation has not improved. Additionally, the efforts to build affordable housing have not kept pace with the rising rate of homelessness. Can Portland find a way out and restore the future of this city? Let's wait and see. Can you imagine? A city that collects billions in tax revenue but lets its bridges and roads collapse right before its eyes. Baltimore, a place that should be thriving but is rotting from the inside. You definitely won't believe this, but the infrastructure in this city has deteriorated to a bad level, with pothole-filled roads and rusty bridges on the verge of collapse. The 2021 report from ASCE shows that 42% of bridges in this country are over 50 years old, some of which are in disrepair. Ironically, despite the exorbitant taxes, the roads are bumpy and the neighborhoods are dilapidated. Moreover, the population is declining, with numerous abandoned residential areas, looking no different from a post-apocalyptic movie. Baltimore used to be a bustling industrial center, where cargo ships filled the harbor, creating tens of thousands of jobs. But now, the iconic image of this city is no longer the cargo-laden ships, but the broken bridges and desolate roads. Baltimore is not only losing its residents, it is losing its very soul. Is there anyone strong enough to revive this city? Is there any policy that can save Baltimore from total collapse? Or will this be one of the next major American cities to turn into a ghost town? What do you think about Baltimore? Can it be revived? Or is it at its end? Don't forget to share your opinion with us below for a discussion. Next, Detroit, known as the Motor City. You know, Detroit was once the pride of America, where dreams of a better life became reality. But now, the silent streets, abandoned factories, and gloomy atmosphere are gradually turning Detroit into a ghost town. What has caused such a once mighty city to collapse like this? Detroit used to be the automotive capital of the world, the cradle of Ford, Chrysler, and General Motors. In its heyday, this city produced 90% of the cars in America, creating jobs for hundreds of thousands of workers. The population once reached 1.8 million, making Detroit the fifth most populous city in the United States. But everything doesn't last forever. In 2013, Detroit officially declared bankruptcy with a massive public debt of $18.5 billion, the largest municipal bankruptcy in U.S. history. The decline lasted for 6 decades due to poor management, high unemployment rates, and massive migration. Detroit, a city that once stood shoulder to shoulder with New York, is now just a shadow of its former self. From 1.8 million people in the 1950s, Detroit now has only about 700,000 residents. Even more frightening, tens of thousands of houses are abandoned, weeds are overgrown, and the streets are deserted. Notably, the once glorious automobile factories are now just piles of dilapidated scrap metal. Although reconstruction projects are being implemented, they cannot yet revive a city that has decayed for too long. Detroit can be revived, but are the people ready to return? What do you think about the future of this city? Once the industrial heart of America, St. Louis stands tall by the Mississippi River, where cargo ships carrying wealth, dreams, and hopes dock every day. Immigrants from all over flocked here, seeking a new life, a ticket to a better future amidst the fiery industrial boom. This city was once the place where business tycoons built empires, from the legendary Budweiser Brewery to McDonnell Douglas, the aviation giant, the predecessor of Boeing. But then, the times changed, and St. Louis couldn't keep up. The factories that once roared day and night are now silent, doors locked and bolted, with only the sound of the wind whistling through the shattered windows. When America transitioned to the high-tech era, St. Louis was left behind, trapped in the bygone golden days. Workers lost their jobs, houses were abandoned, and a once bustling city is now left with only the shadows of its former self. Seattle, home of Amazon, Microsoft, Starbucks, once considered the innovation hub of America. But amidst the modern office buildings, upscale coffee shops, and billion-dollar tech companies, Seattle is gradually turning into a ghost town in an unexpected way. One thing you definitely wouldn't expect is that Seattle has a sales tax of over 9%, one of the highest in the United States. Sounds not so scary? But the reality is that a series of stores and supermarkets have had to close because they couldn't survive. A typical example is the largest Whole Foods supermarket chain in Seattle, which had to close just 1 year after opening, not only due to high taxes, but also because of the homelessness situation right in front of the store. You won't believe what's happening in Philadelphia. The city once known as the City of Brotherly Love, a symbol of American history and culture. But today, an unprecedented crisis is engulfing the place, turning many areas into wastelands that no one could have imagined. The shocking footage captures a haunting scene. Exhausted people, sprawled on the streets, caught in the vortex of poverty and despair. Around them, makeshift camps sprang up like miniature cities, while garbage piled up, covering the sidewalks and streets. If there is a place that most clearly reflects the decline of Philadelphia, it is Kensington, an area that was once bustling and vibrant, but has now become a hotspot for homelessness and crime. The streets that were once filled with laughter are now left with shadows of people wandering aimlessly, soulless, drifting through a harsh reality. This situation is not just an urban issue, but a real crisis. We need stronger solutions, especially in education, healthcare, and community recovery, to prevent this endless decline. Local authorities and social organizations are making efforts to act, but the question is, can Philadelphia rise up from this crisis? Or will it continue to sink deeper into an inescapable nightmare? Above are the 10 largest cities in the United States facing a concerning reality, from bustling urban centers to desolate ghost towns, where tens of thousands of people are trying to survive. The increase in homelessness is not just an issue for a few cities, but a wake-up call about the welfare and socio-economic system. Can these cities be revived, or will they continue to slide deeper into crisis? What policies can help them escape this situation? We have tried to provide the most useful and accurate information, but this is just the starting point for the process of exploring and learning more about this issue. Please share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about the future of these cities? If you find this video useful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next content. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.